Welcome back to the Boring Talk with Saturn. I'm Saturn here, a 21 years old PEA provisionary estate agent in Malaysia. So today I'm going to talk about freehold versus leasehold. Does it really matter in 2025 this year? Okay, a lot of my clients actually ask me whether this project or this subsale is a freehold or a leasehold. Okay, so I just want to simply, in a very normal, very simple way, to differentiate the difference between a freehold and a leasehold. Okay, so of course, the very obvious one is the ownership lah. Freehold is a permanent ownership. You can own until no matter how many years. You can have your children, your family to inherit your property. Okay, but for leasehold is a 99 years lease for you only by the government. So it means you need to renew. uh I would say if your lease already reach another 60 years. Okay, if your lease already reach 60 years and then you have another remaining 39 years, correct? So 60 plus 39, 99 years, right? So let's say you have that property for 60 years and you have a remaining for 39 years. So you need to renew, you go to the government, renew the lease to extend further, probably to another 50, 60 or 70 years. Okay, so you need to pay a certain amount of fees to renew. Okay, so the fees is also differ by how much is you're gonna extend or government will let you to extend lah. Okay, so not confirm government will extend your property lease, but let's say if government extend, you need to pay a certain amount of fees. Okay, so that's the first thing, the difference between freehold and leasehold. Second is transfer. If you want to do transaction, okay, let's say you have a subsale property which is a leasehold and then you want to transact to your buyer. Okay, so you all have closed a deal. So freehold will normally take 3 months, okay, to renew one's name, okay, for the MOT, memorandum of transfer. Okay, so one party A to party B for freehold will need to take around 3 months for the transaction to be successful freehold. But for leasehold, it will take around 4 months to the latest 6 months, depends. Okay, so that will be the time. So for leasehold, to transact your property will take a much more longer time because there is a process where the government will need to approve your transaction of property from party A to party B. Okay, so this one will take a much more longer time. Not only that, okay, if for freehold, your property value, I would say based on the market, right? Market transaction, market value, that is freehold. Leasehold also the same, but the difference is if your leasehold left around 40 years, okay, 40 years of time that you have for your property, you want to renew, but you also want to sell. So some owner would think that, okay, this property I can hold for another 40 years only. So why not I sell it? Okay, your value won't be the same as freehold. Leasehold value will be a little bit disadvantaged if your lease is only left 40 years or 40 years below. Okay, then your property price would not be that of what you think you want. It will not compare as strong as a freehold. Okay, but of course, leasehold is not always an disadvantage. Okay, I would say leasehold also has its advantage. Okay, you see now a lot of property outside, right, is leasehold. Why? Because government thinks that this property in the very far future can develop into something else. So the government give it a leasehold and not a freehold. Okay, but let's say currently now in 2025, you want to buy a new project, and the new project will complete in 3 years time, 4 years time, and the project is a leasehold in a very great location where there is supply and demand for investors, and the price is good, the price is reasonable. Okay, then I would say that leasehold has an advantage, because leasehold, your purchase the price is more cheaper than freehold. Okay, your purchase price is more cheaper than freehold. Freehold is more expensive per square feet. Leasehold is more cheaper. Okay, and plus you are waiting for another 3 years time to 4 years time to complete. Okay, so for new project, leasehold versus freehold, leasehold is more cheaper than freehold for new project. So for investors, it's always about numbers, mostly about calculated numbers, profit margin, and also the costing. Okay, so leasehold will always be something nice about. I would say previously few video, my part 4 and part 3 video, I've made a sunway velocity as a example. Okay, so sunway velocity, currently the velocity to just a VP, that one is leasehold, and velocity 3 currently new project is also leasehold. So I can say that leasehold is much better price at to be purchased, and also leasehold also many investor buy, got investor buy, got own stay also. So even though it's leasehold, in somewhere velocity 2 and velocity 3 is, velocity 2 is fully sold already. Okay, velocity 3 is, I would say, 80% sold, 80+% sold, even though it's a leasehold property. So I would say for experienced investors, leasehold and freehold doesn't really bother much if it's in a great location. There's a supply and demand, visible supply and demand, and the purchase price is also reasonable. Okay, and also from a good background developer. Okay, so this actually, I would say leasehold and freehold for now won't really matters lah. Okay, but some buyers, some owners still matters, because leasehold, every time you want to renew, you need to go through a process. You go to the government, you need to hand in documents, all that, and you need to pay the amount for to extend the lease for your property. So it will be quite a hassle, so owner don't want to go through this process, so they rather choose freehold. And also because in the olden days, they say freehold is the best, freehold is always more superior than leasehold. That is back then lah, 90s, early 20s. But now, to me, freehold, leasehold, sometimes leasehold for investor is much more a better investment than investor buying a freehold property. Okay, so there is also like owner actually asked me a lot of this freehold and leasehold thing. Okay, so they say that leasehold, right? Leasehold, when the lease ended, you need to return back the property to the government. Correct. You are correct. Okay. When your lease 99 years end, government doesn't want to extend your lease, you need to give back the property to the government. Freehold, no need. Freehold is permanent. Okay. To how many years also okay. But I would say there is no difference. Okay. As Malaysia is going into a country where it's, I would say, developed country, right? As Malaysia is heading into a more developed country, okay, government may need to take down some of the old buildings, okay, in some areas. So no matter that that building is freehold or leasehold, if government gave a notice, we'll need to tear down that building for public purpose use, public purpose benefit. Okay, then no matter it's a freehold or a leasehold, owners will need to give the property back to the government, but government will compensate you. Okay, the price, right, will government will talk with you and all that lah, but it will depends on the market value, and also the valuers will step in lah. Okay, value will step in and evaluate the property. So no matter what, freehold or leasehold, okay, when government need that property for public purpose and is giving the for public like transportation, MRT, LRT, or roads, new highways or tolls or anything for public purpose, public benefits, then no matter freehold or leasehold, owners will need to give the property to the government. And but government will compensate, as I said, government will compensate the owners. Okay, so to me, it's no difference. Okay, no matter the freehold or leasehold, to me, it's no difference. Okay, so I will also ask the owner or the buyer whether land tenure or actual demand. Okay, land tenure or actual demand. This is for investors lah. Okay, for own stay, depends on your feeling. 100% on your feeling. If you like this area, you like this taman, you like to go down here, have a cup of coffee, you like the surrounding, then that is for own stay. There's like no right, no wrong. Okay, but for investors, is it about the land tenure or the actual demand? Okay, so I'll ask them this lah. So when they ask me why leasehold, I want freehold. Okay, then yeah, this is what's the question I will ask them lah. Okay, so yeah, leasehold actually can work in investors' favor also. So leasehold is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. Okay, but it need to be at a good situation, good location, developed by a good background developer. Okay, this one I need to check. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. And if you find this helpful, do share, like, subscribe, and if you have any comment, you can comment down on the section below. And remember to follow my Instagram. And you can DM my Instagram, DM me if you have any question or you're looking into new projects in Klang Valley. You can also come and DM me. Okay, my IG is saturnc.property, saturnc.property. Do follow my IG. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye. See you on next video.